If you don't believe in yourself, how can you expect anybody else to believe in you? Now, when you become a confident person, things just change in your life. Things really move in to an upward spiral. Would you like to be a confident person? Would you like to be your more confident self? Would you like to be that kind of person who believes things are available to them? Would you like to break some of those unhelpful old habits you've got? Would you like to stop procrastinating, stop avoiding, and start taking action, moving forward, realizing your dreams, your goals in life? If that's you, I hope you get some real value out of this video. In this video, I'm going to share with you two really important things you need to know if you want to be your more confident self. So the first thing you really need to know is, where does this come from? If you lack confidence, if you doubt yourself, where does that all come from? How did it all start? How did it all begin? Really, what is the root cause of your lack of confidence at this point in time? Because when you understand that, change becomes possible. So that's the first thing I'm going to share with you, where it all comes from, and it's critical to understand that. The second thing I'm going to share with you in this video today, and I think you'll find this really interesting and it's essential to know, is what are the things you really have to understand to be able to make that change? And there are 4 things. So by the end of this video, you will understand why you feel the way you do, where that all comes from. And that's likely to give you a real aha moment, to really go, I get it, I understand it now. And the other thing I'm going to leave you with is the knowledge as to what you really need to understand to be able to move forward. So I hope you get real value out of this video. If you do enjoy it, please do subscribe. Please like. When you subscribe, you will get instant alerts about the next episodes in this series of videos to really take your learning to the next level. So, who am I to tell you this? Why should you listen to me? So I'm Jonathan Butler. I am founder of My Fit Mind. I am a mindset coach. I am a hypnotherapist. I am a public speaker, motivational speaker, and I am the author of a best-selling book called Bye Bye Anxiety, Your 4 Steps to Greater Calmness, Confidence and Contentment. So, what I've learned in my 10 years of working as a turnaround specialist in organisations, of helping teams, individuals and organisations really move forward, is that belief in yourself, belief in your colleagues, belief in your organisation, belief in the mission of what you are doing is fundamental to achieving great results, to making real transformational change. I learned that working in corporate world, and I've since applied that to my work as a coach, as a therapist, really getting life-changing results for people quickly, really quickly, really moving forward people to a better place, being able to unblock what's going on in their lives. Okay, so let's get into the content of this. Why do you lack confidence if you're lacking confidence now? So people typically lack confidence because of their childhood experiences. That is normally where this comes from. Normally between the ages of maybe 2 and 9 years old, when our minds are like sponges, when we're incredibly receptive, when we're very sensitive to what's going on around us, we form beliefs about ourselves. And these are beliefs that come from our experiences, from our environment, from what we hear, from what we take on board. Now, if you're a child who was criticised, belittled, if you were ignored, if you felt you weren't listened to, if you didn't feel loved, if you were constantly put down by a parent, by a teacher, by a coach, by siblings even, that's going to leave scars. That is going to impact you. Because at that age you are incredibly susceptible and suggestible. So the thoughts you have about yourself at that age stay with you through life, even when they stay fairly dormant. You think they're just something from the past. Those things can come up again and hit you. And they come up and hit you in moments of real truth. Maybe you've got a big interview. Maybe you've got a real big opportunity. Maybe you've got an opportunity in a relationship. Just when things are getting good, that's when we tend to draw upon those childhood beliefs and we start to avoid, procrastinate, sabotage. Now also, if you lived in an environment where things weren't available to you, if you grew up in an environment where there was low expectation, where there was a lack of money, where maybe there was crime, very bad environment around you, again, you're likely to set very, very low expectations for yourself, because this is the world that you see. This is what you see that is available to you. And you become conditioned to believe that. And people talk about sticks and stones will break my bones, but calling words won't hurt me. But you know, that's just such nonsense. That's absolute rubbish, because words leave scars, emotional scars, and emotional scars really take time to change. Really take time to change. And the only way you can change them is by actually changing that original subconscious thought. And I'm going to talk about that more in future videos, about how you do that. And I'm sure you'll find that really, really fascinating. So please do subscribe. So the final point I want to leave you with about why we feel that way is a bit of good news. Is we weren't born that way. And just as we learned to doubt ourselves, to lack confidence, we can also learn to have confidence. It can be changed, it can be reprogrammed. And I am going to share how we do that in later subsequent videos with you, so please do keep tuned. Okay, so I talked about there are 4 things that you really, really need to understand if you are going to move forward. 4 key concepts, and I'm going to share those with you now. The first of these is the power, the significance of words. Words are incredibly powerful. Now you may hear or have heard people talking about algorithms, and this is usually talked about when we're talking about things like Google and Amazon, when you're searching for things. You know how you go to search for something and it seems to know what you want. You start looking at a particular kind of video on YouTube, then you start seeing more of those kind of videos. This is an algorithm, because this is about the power of words. The reason, or one of the reasons, that organizations like Google and Amazon are so incredibly successful is they understand how our minds work. Our mind is like an incredibly powerful computer, and it has its own algorithms. Those algorithms that are set when we're a child, based on our experiences, our perceptions, our conditioning, our environment. So we have those algorithms. Now, algorithms can be an incredibly powerful thing. They can be incredibly helpful, getting you to the things that you want, but they can also be incredibly negative. If we're used to using negative words, if we're used to searching for things that are unhelpful, we're just going to get more and more of that. So the words that we use are incredibly powerful. The words that we hear from others around us as a child and in our adult life are important. Words influence us. So the words that we hear from others, the words that we give ourselves, our self-talk, how we talk to ourselves, influences how we think, how we feel, and how we act going forward. And the words that we expose ourselves to, the kind of things that we read, that we search on, we get more of what we focus on. So words, using the right words, surrounding yourself with the right words, creating the right algorithm for you, and moving on from the wrong algorithms is incredibly important. And I'm going to explore that in detail in a video of its own. So the second point you need to understand is about the power of pictures. What do I mean about the power of pictures? Well, pictures shape our thinking. You may have heard sports people, golfers, talking about visualizing things. You may have heard actors talking about sort of visualizing themselves in the role, getting into the role, getting into flow. Because pictures are incredibly powerful. For some people, pictures are even more powerful than words, particularly creative kind of people. We create pictures for ourselves. So just like words, the pictures that we surround ourselves with, the pictures that we create for ourselves are phenomenally, phenomenally important. Let me give you an example of that. Quite often when you see an advert for a product, that advert might run for quite a while before you even see what the product is. Because the reality is that product that they're trying to sell you, maybe it's a domestic appliance, maybe it's a margarine, some kind of food product, whatever it is. They are trying to sell you. The advertisers understand how your mind works. So they are trying to plant a picture in your mind, an association. So typically when they're trying to sell you some kind of household good, it's maybe not very exciting to look at a picture of that. What they're trying to make is an association between their product and a lifestyle, a feeling that you want to have. So maybe they'll show happy people having fun, sunshine, running around, music playing, living some kind of perfect lifestyle in some beautiful house. It's creating a picture which says if you buy our product, that's the kind of lifestyle you're going to have. So pictures are incredibly important. Our mind responds to pictures. It responds to pictures, and the right pictures uplift us, the right pictures make us happy, make us smile, the wrong pictures take us into a downward spiral. So the pictures that we surround ourselves with, that we give ourselves and that we create in our minds are incredibly important, and we can control those things. We can control those things. So we can really learn from the kind of things that Google, Amazon are doing. How do we plant those right kind of pictures in our minds? And again, I am going to put a whole video out about how we do that. So that's words and pictures. The next thing I'm going to talk about is repetition. We learn through repetition. Learning has traditionally been based upon repetition. Basically, the more we do of something, the more we learn it, the more familiar it becomes to us. So just like as a child, if we've taken on some unhelpful beliefs about ourselves, that will have come through repetition, through consistently being told something that you don't want to hear, that brings you down, that makes you believe it. If you're told something enough, you will believe it. And of course, you can turn that on its head. By repetition of the right things, by telling yourself the right things, by doing the right things, you create new habits of thought. And you can create new habits of thought in just 14 to 21 days. That's right, 14 to 21 days. You can develop new habits of thought. You can stop doing things. You can stop drinking, you can stop smoking, you can stop doing all sorts of destructive things, and you can start doing more positive things. Habits are a result of repetition. And we can believe pretty much anything. Our mind doesn't actually make value judgments, it just believes what we're giving it. It believes, let me repeat this, it believes the words that we give it, the pictures that we show ourselves, and the repetition that we give ourselves. So when we put those three things together, we can make huge shifts in how we think, in how we feel, and in the actions that we take. So you can become that more confident person in that very short space of time. It's incredibly powerful. So repetitions create new habits of thought, leading to new actions. And these can replace unhelpful habits that we may have had for many, many years. So repetition is incredibly powerful, but it needs to be combined with using the right words, using the right pictures. I said there were four things, so one more thing. The fourth area that you really need to understand, the fourth concept that really needs to make sense to you is this. And this is that we are the product of the company that we keep. Let me repeat that. We are the product of the company that we keep. There was someone called Jim Rohn who once wrote, "We are the average of the four people we spend our time with." So just think about that. Who do you spend your time with? Do you spend your time with people who lift you up? Do Do you spend your time with people who drag you down? Or do you spend time with people who are kind of like you? But it's really, really important, really, really think about that, because if we're going to make progress, the company we keep is incredibly important. And remember, I said earlier on in this video about our environment being so critical. If we've grown up in an environment where we don't have a lot of good role models, where things are difficult, where there's limited aspiration, that becomes our level. We kind of get that glass ceiling, and it's pretty hard to break out from that. So the people that we choose to surround ourselves with, the company we choose to be in, and the company we choose to keep ourselves away from as well, have a huge impact upon us. Now, of course, we can't always choose the company that we keep. There are going to be situations, maybe at work, if you're younger, in school or in college, there may be people you have to be around. And there are things you can do about that to shield yourself, to protect yourself from that. And I can talk about that again later on. But where we have choices about who we're with, who are the friends we give time to, where are the places we go to, really, really think about that, because being with the right people in the right places will lift us up, float us up. Think of it as like being on the water, being on the tide. It's going to lift you up. If you're with the wrong people, it's very hard to make that change. So really, really do think about that. Have an audit of your friendships. And again, I will talk about this in much more detail in a different video. And I also talk about this a lot in my book, Bye Bye Anxiety. I've got a whole chapter talking about the things we can do to manage that company that we keep. So this is everything we hear. You know, it's the people that are around us. It's the videos we watch on YouTube. It's the programs we watch. It can be the music that we listen to as well. You know, music has a phenomenal influence on our thinking and behavior. So everything we hear. So let me just recap on the key points that I've told you here. I wanted to share with you today the knowledge of why you may lack confidence right now. And I wanted to share with you the 4 points that you need to understand if you want to make progress. So I've talked you through how childhood experiences shape how we think and lead to us avoiding procrastinating. And we do that because we don't want to go back to that child of being knocked down. It's painful, it's uncomfortable, we don't want to be there. So we create that glass ceiling for ourselves because we don't want to be hurt anymore. And I've shared with you those 4 points about how we move forward. The things that you need to understand. So you need to understand the power of words. Words are mightier than the sword. Secondly, the power of pictures. Pictures create a roadmap for us. Positive pictures move us forward to the place we want to go. Negative pictures drag us down to a place we really don't want to go. Repetition. We do learn by repetition, and we can override old habits, create new programs by going through a process of repetition in as little as 3 to 4 weeks. It's incredibly powerful. It works. You can make massive change in your life by understanding and of course implementing some principles around that. And finally, the company that we keep. We are a product of the company that we keep. So we need to choose that very, very carefully and take some control of that. So I hope you found that really, really helpful. If you like this video, please do subscribe, because I'm going to put out subsequent episodes weekly going through each of those key areas. So by the end of this series of videos, you will understand not only the principles of what I'm telling you, but I'm going to give you some really, really practical, useful advice on the things that you can actually do to make yourself that more confident person. If you'd like to know more, please look below. You can link to my website. You can go to my book, Bye Bye Anxiety, Your 4 Steps to Greater Calmness, Confidence and Contentment, where I do share lots of practical exercises on how you can actually move forward. But I hope you've got great value out of this video. and I look forward to seeing you shortly on the next video. Thanks for listening and see you soon.